Want to see me run down the hallway real quick? Want to see me do it again?
Yeah, I'm Batman. You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts. What is up, everybody? It's your boy Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and today we are going to be reviewing part one of the big one. I've been waiting for this movie for so long, and it finally came. And oh boy, there's a lot to unpack. That's why we're doing two parts. But yes, I saw The Flash last night at the time of recording. I'm recording this Friday afternoon, and wow, what a movie. Lot to unpack, like I said. We'll get into that. Let's just say it was well worth the hype. And with that being said, let's dive right in. Vengeance. So we start off with Barry, played by Ezra Miller. He's in a cafe. He's trying to make his order. The woman that is usually there knows his order, makes it quick, but they have a different worker, so he's giving him a hard time. And then he gets a call from Alfred. Cameo number one, and many to come. We will get into all that. But he says they need help, and Ezra heads to Gotham. So we see Ben Affleck's Batman for the first time. He wasn't in this movie much, but from what he looked, for the first time, I thought he was really cool, and this might be his last time playing Batman. I'm not sure about that, but we see Barry. He saves people from a sinkhole, and him and Batman are fighting off the bad guys. The bad guys send the cops into the wall, and then a very crazy slow motion scene. The babies are falling out of the hospital, and Barry saves them all, of course. The nurse is absolutely terrified. I just wanted to say this up front. I'm going to be describing Affleck's Batman, I'm just going to say Affleck, and Keaton's Batman as Keaton, because I don't want you guys getting confused, because there's two Bruce Waynes and more. And yeah, just to keep it going, just to keep it easier, I'm just going to describe them as their actors' names. So, Affleck gets in the truck to stop the bad guys. The guy who's driving just casually looks at Batman. He throws himself out of the car. One of the smartest bad guys I've seen in a while. I mean, hey. He was like, yeah, I'm not doing this today. And then we get another cameo on the bridge. Who shows up? Wonder Woman with the music and all that. She helps save the day. Her and Affleck flirt a little, and then Ezra comes in and he's acting all awkward, and she says, nice suit. He goes, thank you, because he can't speak English because he's starstruck. So because Barry is helping save the world, he's late to work, and the boss rips him a new one. Because, you know, I guess he's always late, and ironic, the guy that's really fast is always late. Then we get another cameo. Like I said, a bunch of those. Iris West, she's the girlfriend in the comics. She starts flirting with Barry, and she's trying to get a quote because Barry's father is going to court tomorrow for the murder of his mother, and that's a major plot point in this movie, so we will come back to that. So we see young Barry with his mom and dad, and then we see Barry's mom get murdered. We didn't see who did it, but we do know the dad didn't do it. But it looks like he did it from a normal point of view. And I understand the CGI in this movie wasn't great, but it did the job for the movie, in my opinion. Tell me what you guys think about the CGI. I thought it was fine for this type of movie. It wasn't going to be perfect, but they wanted to make it look like it was coming from Barry's vision. Then we see Barry running, and he runs back in time. And that puts the idea in his head that he can go back and save his parents. Affleck tries to say to him, if you even change one simple thing, everything goes differently. And oh boy, does it. So Barry wants to save his parents and Bruce's, and Bruce Affleck said, no, it's not worth it. The world, you know, I came to terms with it. And then we see Affleck drive off. And that's the last time we see him in this movie. And it might be the last time we see him as Batman. Apparently he might be an Aquaman. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what direction they're going. But yes. So then we see Barry and Iris talk. And Barry's still trying to prove his father's innocence. But they realize it's a long shot. So he wants to go back in time and change it without hurting anybody or doing anything. And then we see a cameo when he's back in time. When he's seeing everything. Henry Cavill as Superman and Aquaman. I can't believe they kept Henry Cavill in the movie, but hey, I enjoyed his Superman. He's obviously not coming back, but it was cool to see him one last time. So the whole thing is, Barry's mom ran out of a can of tomatoes. That's why the father left. that's why the mother got murdered. So Barry's like, if I can go back in time and just put one extra can of tomatoes in the cart, no talking to anybody, no nothing, we'll be good. He does it. Barry comes home and he sees his mom and he's like, oh my goodness, we did it. But then he looks outside and he sees another Barry Allen. And oh boy, does chaos go from there. So we have 18-year-old Barry and modern day Barry. 18-year-old Barry is very interesting. He's very funny. But modern day Barry finds out 18-year-old Barry has a date with Iris. And he's like, do we end up marrying that girl? 18-year-old Barry is hilarious. Then we see the Barrys go to the lab because they realize it's the day that Barry got his powers. So they want to make sure that goes off without any problems. It works. But then modern day Barry doesn't have the powers and 18-year-old Barry has the powers. And 18-year-old Barry doesn't know how to process this or do it. So he's running around naked. He's hungry. He's sleepy. And yeah, he gets caught being naked at some points in hilarious scenes. He vanishes downstairs. You just hear the neighbors scream. And yeah, then both Barrys go outside for a little. And then they see something in the sky. They go into this bar. And we see Zod is back. The villain from Man of Steel. Multiverse. He never died. And he's coming. And then they start to realize there's no Aquaman. There's no Wonder Woman. There's no Superman. No Cyborg. There is a Batman. But before they go to find this Batman, there's a hilarious scene. He goes, I have to call Arthur. Okay, so he gets on the phone. He finds out the father's number. He's like, is Arthur there? I need to talk to him. And Arthur's father is, you need to talk to my dog? So they messed up everything. He's like, if it's your wife, the Queen of Atlantis? And he looks over and she's clearly not. He goes, trying to make jokes funny, man. But in the next scene, we go to Wayne Manor. It's all gated off and everything. My buddy Scott next to me leaned over and said, I won't say exactly what he said, but he said, don't get excited too much. I'll leave it at that. They get in, they break in, they realize they're looking through the house. One sandal is left on the ground and they realize that, but they don't really think too much of it. Then out of the closet, you see this long-haired figure. He comes out, he starts fighting them. He's beating up modern day Barry pretty well because of the no powers, but 18-year-old Barry handles him, sends him into the wall. And who is it? Long hair, gray beard, Michael Keaton, baby. I was like, let's go. And there's much more exciting things of his to come in this movie. MVP. Then Keaton explains to Barry that because he did that one thing, he changed everything, and the multiverse is a very real thing. The Barrys say, okay, cool. Will you help us? Keaton just goes, no. So, the Barrys go to the Batcave. They're trying to find out where Superman is, and it hasn't changed a bit. And we see the Batmobile from Batman 89 and Batman Returns. And then we see a laughing bag from the end of Batman 89, like what the Joker was doing when he was on the ground. I was like, interesting. But Barry has a breaking point in modern day Barry. He starts yelling at 18-year-old Barry. And then we see Barry talking to Bruce through the system saying, I know you can hear me. And then Barry one last time says, we need your help, please. So Keaton gets up, puts his eye up to the bookshelf. It opens. And we see all his bat suits. And it's like, okay, very cool. Then the Barrys find out Clark is being held in Russia. So they're like, hey, we gotta go to Russia. And all we hear then is, I'll help you find Superman. But then you're on your own. Camera pans up. For the first time in 31 years, Michael Keaton, dressed as Batman, walks up and he just delivers that line. The music's playing, everything. He walks up, he just goes, yeah, I'm Batman. And it's like, what an iconic moment. And then they hop in the Batwing and go to save the day. And that's the end of part 1 of my review. Oh, I needed to cut it off when Keaton came back as Batman. That was the end. That was the goal here, so I can freak out about Michael Keaton. Oh my goodness, was that an iconic moment? And the fact that he did some of his own stunts on this movie at 71, impressive. And you know what? Michael Keaton can play as Batman as long as he wants, and I'd be A-okay with it. But thank you for joining me on part 1. Part 2 will be coming. But like I said, this is part 1 of part 2, and much more comes in part 2. Oh boy, get ready to have your head explode. But thank you for joining me. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you give me a subscribe. Those go a long way. And remember the goal, folks. 500 subs by October 15th. That's my 1-year anniversary on YouTube. We're at 312 at the time of recording. We got this. Let's do this. But until next time, until part 2, I'm Bobby from Bobby's Breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.
Thanks for listening to Bobby's Breakdowns. Now go about your life, would you?